Okay. All right. Man, this is going to be an interesting conversation. All right. And welcome to the In-Game Boss podcast. I am your host, Jeremy, a.k.a. your retro activist, a.k.a. your in-game boss, your a.k.a. the unforgettable one. Because it's a little bit dry. It's been a bit dry here on the page of the YouTube. A lot of mistakes has happened in the last couple of weeks. Some of our sounds was not working our best, and second, I forgot to record one time, so it's been kind of a drought. But we are here, we are back, and we are going to have a lot more. And hopefully, I do not make that mistake again with a lot more new stuff to talk about. Anyways, but I'm not alone, of course. Of course, player 2 has arrived, Mr. Jaron.
Yes, Jaron, aka the evil of Aku, aka the grumpiest of bears, aka it's hot. I'm sweating. I don't know. I don't know if something stung me and getting all swollen up over here. Yeah. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years.
It's interesting that is if you are living in Oklahoma, that the weather is kind of like a little behind schedule because, October seems to be the month where it starts to get chilly, especially like the tradition of Halloween has always been a cold day regardless. And we are, I think, about 2 weeks away from Halloween as I speak, yeah. I believe. And I'm wondering if that is going to hit that mark, or are we going to get a warm, or a decent cool of Halloween. And so that's going to be interesting because it'll be breaking the cycle over the many, many years that has been happening.
Yeah. Oklahoma, the weather this month has been start off cold, like first couple of weeks of October. It was cold to where I actually had to turn the heater on one day.
I did too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or I could leave the door open and let the dogs run in and out without worrying about flies because it was too cold for them. And you ever get that perfect temperature where it's cold enough to where you can leave a window open, you just put a blanket over yourself, and it's like, fresh air, it's nice and toasty.
Yeah.
I had a few days of that, and I was like, hell yeah. And then a day like yesterday and today, all of a sudden it's 70-something, 80 degrees. And I got to turn the air on again. So I don't know. And last year around the fall, we had a part 2 of tornado season. So I really hope that doesn't happen again.
Right. It also makes you think for Oklahoma, like, are we going to get, snow late? We're going to get snow in March or something like that, due to the...
I'll take snow whenever, just no ice, please.
With Oklahoma, it's hard to get just snow. It's very rare without getting ice involved. I feel like we get more ice storms than we get snow days, and the ice storms in Oklahoma are no joke. They are no joke.
Luckily, we haven't had any in about a year or two, maybe 2 years. In the metro, at least. Yeah,
give or take. I think the thing I hate about the ice storms is just how many trees just fall off the branches, and they at the wrong time just block traffic. Especially like if you live in an apartment where like apartments only have like really one route to get out of there, and if that tree's in the way, you got to find a detour, and it is not fun.
Yeah, well, it's common. We could wax on all day about how woefully inept the Oklahoma Department of Transportation is, planting all these Bradford pear trees that snap at the slightest bit of pressure on them. Trees falling everywhere, people not trimming trees. We could go all night about that, and not a single person would disagree, especially in Oklahoma.
But one thing that is interesting for October is the last couple of years, October has been coming slowly rebus of video games because now we are now officially. I feel like October, not September, really. I know September is really the tradition. It's the traditional start of fall, but for gaming, I feel like October is the starting of fall games because October has been super real bust the last couple of years, and this one I feel like is the most bustiest with. With the new scoring game that got mixed reviews, the new Gotham Knights have recently just got some mixed reviews.
Yeah.
Bayonetta's around the corner, and then November, of course, is the hot month, right? That's where that's where all the money is going to be going for gamers. Is all that
with build your Christmas list.
Yep, with God of War, Pokemon, Sonic, Call of Duty, which I think Call of Duty came out this month, I think, not November.
If you pre-ordered Modern Warfare 2, you can start the campaign now.
Okay. So give or take. Yeah. Yeah. And of course, award seasons for not even video games, for movies too. So fall games has always been interesting because I think Black Friday really relies on the video games to really make the sell for it. And I used to be a big Black Friday person, but now it's more like I've been a big fan of like getting there early and be the first one rush, but now like with age is like, it's not really that important. I'll just walk in and whatever's left, I'll just take whatever. It's not like, because I think that mentality of game or I have to have it in that moment is over. It's more
most
like
of the stuff is online anyway.
Yeah, it's more of like I just want if I get a chance to get into my collection, I will get into my collection. But if not, just not really worth it. And I tend to go for games that are a lot older, not the newest ones, because the price to me don't really fluctuate that much. It's the older games that or the game. When I mean older games, I mean games that have been out like a couple of years. Those are the games like go rock bottom price, like $10. I'm like, yeah, I'll finally pick that game up. And so
No, I mean, not to mention inflation's been kicking everybody's butts.
Mm-hmm. So. Well, and I'm kind of curious to see what Black Friday followed by Cyber Monday is going to be. But also too, don't forget for people that are watching this that we are getting the Steam sales. We're getting our autumn and we're getting our winter. So be prepared for those, because that's where that's your big chance to get a lot of games that you've been kind of curious about. So I've been kind of making a little list of myself. Like, here's some games that I've been curious about, but didn't want to put up like full price for it. And so
that's probably going to be Gotham Knights for me.
So Gotham Knights for you were a little hype about. We talked about games of the summer that you were excited about. And now that we're here and we're getting a lot of mixed reviews, mainly the main culprits we see out of all the reviews I have read is, one, it's very grindy. That's for one thing I heard. That was an issue. Two, I feel like they said there's not a lot of diverse into the combat. Some of it, like after a while, it kind of gets old. In that way, I heard. And then I think the last one I think I heard is that the multiplayer is where it'll probably carry you for the funness, other than playing it solo.
Yeah. So. I've heard some of the same things. Recently, though, you can call this my defiant rebelliousness against critics. The more a critic or critics shit on a game, the more I'm probably going to give it a try. Okay. On my list, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers, and Gotham Knights. Now, will I pay full price for these games? No, I'm not stupid. I'm not paying $70. That's no, not happening.
Even if the game, let's say that Gotham Knights got raving reviews. Let's say it just knocked out like great reviews. Would that change your mind of paying that price? No. Okay.
No, I would still want to play it. Okay. So it's 2-tier. It's like, or 3 tiers.
Oh, also too, I think it's coming out the Game Pass too. Is that? I think it's coming out for Game Pass.
If it is, then there you go.
Okay. Anyways, I'm sorry. Go on.
But no, it's fine. Tier 1 is day one, gotta have it. Tier 2 is I want to play it, but I won't pay full price for it. That's where most of the games that come out fall. And Tier 3 is, man, you gotta come to single digits for me to touch you, or come be free on one of these giveaways. And that's pretty much it for me. I gotta be a little tight-fisted with my cash these days.
I think a lot of people have to be tight-fisted with their cash, especially people that are probably this year going to be upgrading to a new console, of course. So you have to be very.
It's finally available. Yeah.
Yeah, but even with that, I mean, no one. Sorry, I don't want to say no one. I think most people that buy a new console, they're probably going to get one game to start out with.
Yeah.
And because you're only going to get one game, and then of course you're going to pay your online subscription, which will give you a library of other games too. So just buy a new game, I can only see maybe one, unless Black Friday can fill you up. But for a present, most of the time it's probably just one game. I think that tradition has always been the same, even growing up when we were younger with the consoles. Was like, if you buy a new console, you get one game.
If you're a kid or a teenager, yes. If you're a grown man, I mean, if you living by yourself, you can swing it. You'll get a console, one game, maybe 2 games. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It really just depends because, fortunately, PS5s, I'm not saying plentiful, but I've gone into 2 or 3 stores over the last couple of weeks since we've last done this, and they've had PS5s just sitting there.
That's good.
I mean, that's good. I am happy for that. But on the other hand, I look and I see, wow, $69.99 for that game. Or I could go over here and buy the PS4 version and get a free PS5 upgrade and pay $10 less. I think I'll do that.
Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, we did hear some new, news came out already about the new kind of like Elite Pro controller that Sony's doing that is going to cost around $200. And so
I'm sorry. Don't tell funny jokes.
So which is, I think I want to say it is $50 or $40 more than the Xbox Elite. I think that's ringing about $120, $150, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, which I always picture in my head, like, who is the Elite controller for? And I guess
influencers.
Like, what you mean, like, just influence it or actually enjoy for what it is, right? I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
So my theory, this is a theory, so don't people start saying, oh, that's not true. My theory is a lot of these high level boutique level prices of these items, they're for whales. So it's priced really high because I don't know about you. I have a hard time swallowing $60 to $70 for a regular controller, much less $200. But who does have that? People who have money to burn, people who have money to burn and they have like maybe a following or they can write it off on taxes or get sponsorships or use it as influence and make that money back in the views they get. I'm sure there are those, like I said, the first one, people with money to burn. Yeah, $200. But here's the thing. I bet you dollars to donuts, it's not going to sell as well as the Xbox Elite. And the Xbox Elite didn't even sell, super well. It was one of those. If you have to ask, you can't afford it.
It's almost like, what's the it's that category of hardcore, right? You have this is for like the hardcore fans to me. Like you love Xbox so much or you love PlayStation so much and you want the best of the best. This is that category, which I don't expect it to sell a lot. But that's not for the casual people. This is for the top tier people that really, really want to get the best experience they get. It's almost like the different models of consoles in general. Like you can still stick with your PS4 or you can get the Pro or you can get whatever is next to me. So but it doesn't change it's not going to change a whole big difference of how you play the game. It just gets you extra ways for you to customize, I guess, the way you want to do it. But I don't know, to me personally, extra $200 is worth it in my opinion. But I'm not in that category. As long as the controller is good, it's fine. Thank goodness that there's not games that are dedicated to you have to have this controller to get the full experience of that game. Thank goodness that doesn't exist.
They'd have a riot. COD, Call of Duty, games like that, shooters, that's what a lot of people are probably going to use
that makes sense
for, because you have all the extra buttons. You can trade stuff out. You can swap parts out. That's what people are. I was like, all right, cool. More power to you. But, I mean, hell, if I had $200 to burn, I wouldn't do it on a controller.
No.
Not
at all.
These are also some of the same people who won't blink an eye at buying a PS5, buying a game, buying another controller, buying the camera, and then spending another $200 on a bigger storage card for their PS5. So, I mean, by that time, you're in the hole for over a G. So, but once again, holiday season, man, the season of overspending is upon us.
Yeah. I also think, though, Sony, it's weird. I think Sony did this price because they know that they can do it. They are leaning towards people will probably get this. And it wouldn't surprise me if people did get this.
Yeah.
For that. I'm actually kind of surprised to see how well it actually does with that price before they decided they need to cut that price down, which I don't see it cut down. But
not anytime soon.
No.
Something is worth, as a friend of mine said earlier this week, a product is only worth what people are willing to pay for it. And if people want to pay $200, I guess it's worth 200.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with it. When I see stuff like that, the extra stuff like that, I just automatically just kind of like just move on from it, because it's just that's definitely never going to be for me to always do that upgrade, because it's not beneficial for me, because I will not take advantage of a controller like that even if I pay that much for it. There's not enough that I would have fun with it.
No,
you know,
you hold that controller and you'll be thinking about all the other things you could have spent $200 on.
Mm-hmm. Now, maybe it's different if I was an esport player. Maybe
Yeah,
if they say esports players need this controller, it will help your feature better. Maybe I don't know, but I'm not in that category. I would like to hear people that are in the esports tell me if this is a recommendation that they would tell people that want to get into esports. Like, yeah, you want to get the best controller you get for the best experience you're going to get, you know, for your shooter games or whatever esports games that are out there. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm an expert on that, but
and some people have their stuff subsidized by either their little sponsors or they can write it off. So it makes sense. And for those who want the $200 controller, who love it, I'm not trying to shit in your cereal. I'm just saying, for me personally, I laughed my ass off when I saw what they wanted for it. But if you get it, cool, kudos for you.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to take a look at reviews, just so I can just be educated of like, what is it that people would go for that for, and what's the reason behind it, so I can learn it. And maybe I need to look a little bit further in the Xbox Elite controller too, and just see what games are meant to really use that controller at its full capability. And so,
because you can't use those controllers, all those extra buttons at tournaments. Depending on the fighting game tournament, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. So, shooters
makes sense to me.
Sports games, hey, I bind whatever to this thing, and I can quickly shuttle pass or whatever. So I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. I've never really looked into what people who buy those scuff controllers and those elites and everything use them for. But
last note though, thank goodness that I think slowly, as these in-house Sony, Xbox, not really Nintendo right now, but they are trying to come out with their own brands. So like, the reason I say that is because I personally, for me, please correct me if I'm wrong. Please correct me down below if I'm wrong. That we're not seeing brands like Mad Cat come back, or Afterglow come back, or any of these like off these third parties coming back on the stride of this. I'm not seeing those anymore, and I think that's a good thing. But then again, like I said, I didn't look hard enough or go to GameStop.
It's a good thing / a bad thing. On one hand, I kind of miss Mad Cats because they did provide an alternative. If you just needed a second controller and just need
for the middle class, those are the middle class controllers.
yeah. Depending on what controller, like Mad Cats made a bomb ass steering wheel.
Okay, I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, no, their steering wheels for racing games was up there. It was nice, but I am glad we're not seeing those controllers that are so cheap. You think there's nothing in it when you pick it up, and you actually hear rattling, and you're not sure if you picked up one of those things that hold candy, or if you picked up an actual
Tic Tac, like it sounds like a Tic Tac in there.
Yeah. I remember those days from GameStop. I remember those days working at Blockbuster. We sold those types of controllers, those third parties. So it's competition is good, but actual competition, not just we're going to prey on the people who don't know any better.
Mm-hmm. And that's why, like, I think developers or the publishers, or mainly Xbox, PlayStation, are kind of doing a good job of, like, your backwards capability can still play old controllers. It's not like you have to rebuy them per se. So I give them a little bit of credit, a little bit. And then, of course, PC, I still play with a 360 controller on, like, newer games. Yeah.
Wired. Yeah.
So it's cool that we can still play. Especially, I think that's the benefit of like PC is like, as long as you can control and map it out, you can really just use this for any game that comes out on PC.
Oh, and also I can plug this into my Xbox and it works.
Mm-hmm. You have that's the Xbox One edition, right?
This is I think this is Xbox One, but it can also work with the series.
Yeah, no, I was looking at the model of it. It looks like an Xbox One model because of that black board on the top.
It's yes, you are correct.
Compared to the 360. Yeah.
Yes, is a PDP wired controller. It's like a little inexpensive.
Oh yeah, wire is 100%. Wireless, I don't think it works really well for me on the PC, in my opinion. Yeah, wire.
Let me do like the magazines you see.
Yeah.
Hold the controller wrong. It's like
Or you do that old school Bill Gates commercial or ad. He's holding a burger and the controller. Like, yeah, we want you to know it's the same size,
So both a little bit too big. Gotcha.
Yeah, got it. Because America loves big things. Yes.
To Xbox's credit, this is tangent, they did get things right 360 onwards. This feels nice to hold.
Oh yeah. They definitely took the map of the Dreamcast controller and perfected it better.
Yeah. None of that Duke, that OG Xbox Duke.
Yeah.